Hello everybody and welcome back to another CB Showtunes tutorial. Now today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting into making our zombies capable of attacking us. Now this is a very simple process, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing that we're going to be focusing on is the animator controller, because that is actually where all the magic happens. Now if you've been following along inside our tutorials for this zombie series, you should have everything set up to pull this off very simply. But if you don't, I'm going to leave a link up above somewhere just to be able to go find that tutorial for the AI. So as you can see, I have these new states attached to our zombie animator. If you don't know how to get to that, go over to your zombie, select it, and then find the animator tab. If you don't got the animator tab, go to Windows, Animation, and find Animator. So, as you can see, I have this brand new state. To get this state, simply right click inside of an empty space, go to Create State, and select Empty State. Now, from there, you're just going to simply right click on this Any State node, make transition, and then select that state. You can go ahead and give that state a name, and I'm going to give it the name Attack. Now, to get an animation for this, you need to make sure that you have a compatible animation for this skeleton. So the easiest way to do that is simply to select this object or find this zombie object and then go over to its import area. So I'm going to find where my imports are, go over to this mixed mode zombie, and I'm going to find the animation. Now, if you got this character from, say for instance, Unity or another site, normally the animation is stored within the actual character itself. To check this, simply select the character, go over to the animation tab, and you'll find if it has a list of animations for this. But luckily for me, I already have this animation stored right here. So to get this animation into this, simply press this arrow, then select your animation and drag this onto there, just like so. Now, we want to be able to make sure that this animation does auto loop, so we're going to make sure we select that animation node or animation import and simply select loop time, then select apply. Now, for this to actually activate, we need to add a boolean. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that boolean. It's alright. I'm going to press this plus key, add a boolean right here, and we're going to call this attacking. Now keep in mind you need to spell this exactly the same inside the script as you do here. So whenever you have that done, you're going to select that transition that you made between the any state and the attack, and you're going to roll down and find this condition node. Now for this condition, you're going to press this plus key. You're going to go over to this equal sign and you're going to press the attacking boolean. So if we're attacking, if it's equal to true, we're going to move into this. Make sure it has exit time is equal to false. Now what we're going to do is make a transition back to our default state, which in my case is called motion. Make a note of that because we're going to be using this inside of the script as well. Alright, so we're going to select this transition and we're going to make sure that we have this as has exit time, and our condition for this, the same thing as before, except we're going to be setting the condition to equal to false. Alright, that's all you have to do for your animation state. So we're going to hit Control S, then we're going to go over into our AI controls script. Now, like I said before, this script was created inside the previous tutorial for our AI controller, so just make sure that you follow along inside that to be able to get this. Alright, so for our new stuff, we have this boolean called attack. So anytime that we're attacking, we want to be able to activate the animation. So just make sure that you add that inside there. Then we go over to our update folder, and as you can see, we have a couple new things here. So for our motion setup, we have this if statement. So inside our previous tutorial, we just had this moving our destination to the target if our target was not equal to null. And that of course activated down there inside of our properties tab, which was really cool. But irregardless of all that, what we want to do here is we want to make sure that we can actually move if our animation state is based in our motion state, or only move if we have this state inside motion. So in other words, right here, currently, we can move inside the motion state, but we're not allowed to move inside the attack state. And the reason for this is we want to be able to make sure that our character will finish its attack before it moves into its motion state. Alright, to recap, say if we're going to grab our animator, we're going to get its current animation state information, and its current layer is 0. Now if you come over here to the animator and you're going to find a layers tab, this is a 0 state. It runs off an array. So if I added one more layer, this is layer 1, add another layer, this is layer 2. So let's go and delete those. Then I need to ask the isName, and that name is the default state. As I said, make sure to make a note of that. You also need to make sure that you spell it exactly the same, so there's all that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. We don't need that anymore. So, I also need to make sure that our character always looks at the player. Now, this is a problem with the NavMesh agent. So far, it does not have the ability to constantly look at the player whenever you're moving around. So, for this, we created a variable called lookPose, and it's equal to our target's position minus our transform.position. Now the problem with this currently is that if our target is equal to null, it's going to basically freak out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if target is, let's say not equal to null. If it's not equal to null, then we're going to do this look state. That way it will actually work without having any problems. There we go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that our Y position is equal to 0. Then we're going to be setting a rotation quaternion value. So we're going to say quaternion look rotation, and we're going to be grabbing this look pose right here. So we're going to be getting the X and Y value. Then we're going to be setting the rotation, so our current rotation. We're going to be slurping it. So this is another form of lerping, or moving over time, but we're using a rotation instead. Then we're going to say our transform rotation. We're going to be getting its rotation, or the rotation value we just created. And then we're going to be multiplying this by time.delta time multiplied by 2. I know that sounds super complicated, and it really is, but you know, we all got to deal with it. Alright, so we're going to go over to the animation now. Now, this is where all the magic happens. So, we're going to be setting this anim bool. So, if you recall, we had this animator bool over here, if it loads up properly. But the attacking boolean right over here, so this right here. Now, what we want to be able to do is set that boolean to the attack bool we created earlier, right here. So, this is going to constantly run, which is really, really nice. Alright, so we now have those two values set, and we want to be able to make sure that we run this. So if our target is not equal to null, which means that we have a target that we're going to be attacking, we want to run a distance check. So to do that, we're going to be creating a float value called distance. We're going to be making it equal to a vector 3 called distance, and we're going to get the current position of ourselves, and we're going to be subtracting the current position of our target dot position. So whoever our target is, we're going to be basically getting the general distance between us and them. Then we're going to be setting the attack state. So this is just basically saying if our distance is less than or equal to our NavMesh agent stopping distance. So if you recall, inside of the NavMesh agent over here, it's got to compile again. If you recall over here, we have this NavMesh agent on our zombie character. Now, this stopping distance allows us to be able to stop the character within a certain distance of whatever our target is. So, we have this where it's saying if our distance is less than or equal to that, then we're going to set our attack state equal to true. Otherwise, we're going to set our attack state equal to false. Alright, so let's go ahead and close all that up. That's pretty much it for setting up this whole thing. So we're going to head back over here into Unity. We're going to go ahead and press play. And boom, bada bing, bada bing, bang. We have business. And of course, this works in any way. As you can see, I have another zombie that's set up to do the same thing. You may need to speed up the animation as well. So you can go over to the animator, select the attack state, and then just change that speed value. And the zombie will be able to speed a whole lot faster. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and I will see you guys next time.